Coming up on For Verts today, it's Mock Draft 2.0 time. First one got a lot of good feedback from you guys, so we're going to run it back, as long as you guys want more draft content. We'll keep doing so. This is a post-Senior Bowl edition, and there's one big trade in it. So stay tuned for that. All 32 picks in round one at you right now. But as we get there, listen, our first mock, like I said, good feedback from you guys, 93 subscribers, a lot of people tuned in. It was one of our better videos so far. This in the last month or so. So can we top it? Can we get more than 93 new subs if you want us to do a mock draft? A week between now and the draft? Let's top that number. Let's see what we can do today. Hit that sub button. We're covering the Super Bowl as well. Daily NFL news rumors, draft free agency content. We'll probably do some kind of free agency video soon, with that just about a month away. So, rock and roll with us. We appreciate the support. Let's dive in here, okay? No changes at the top. I'm sticking with Cam Ward out of Miami for the Tennessee Titans. I think there will be debate for what Tennessee should do. I don't think this is a draft where there's a clear and obvious number one pick and a clear and obvious top quarterback. But I would gamble on Ward's traits. And I don't think Tennessee can opt to pass on a QB here, so I'll stick with that. Okay, Abdul Carter goes to Cleveland at number 2. Last week, I had Travis Hunter this week. I'm going Abdul Carter. I think he's the best beer pass rusher in this draft. I know there will be a few people that say, he might be a little UND-sized. I think he's scheme-proof. He plays with speed power. You could drop him into coverage every once in a while. Like, honestly, I kind of think he's a poor man's Mel Parsons. I know it's a lazy comparison because they both played at Penn State. But I think he's got the athletic profile to be, 80 to 85% of the player. Parson is, and if you get that, that's a Heil Pro Bowl player and maybe even an All-Pro. And in a draft that's not super top-heavy, I think that's pretty good. And part of the reason I'm taking Carter for the Browns is a little teaser here. Stay tuned. You're going to want to watch this full video. This mock features a Myles Garrett trade. I mentioned a blockbuster trade off the top. That's what it's going to be. You'll have to wait and find out which team ends up trading for. Okay, at number 3. I really tussled here. Like, to me, if I'm running the Giants, I would draft Travis Hunter. But this is kind of what happens when you keep a lame duck, GM and head coach. They are going to draft a quarterback, especially if one of Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders is sitting there. There's been a lot of buzz of Shedeur to the Giants. Brian Deal, Joe Shane, you can't pass on a QB here and then win 5 games next year and expect to keep your job. The second, John Mara kept them. But then, in the same day, came out and said, I'm losing patience. I just don't think you can risk not bringing in your own quarterback if you're this regime. I would take Hunter, but I think they're going to take Sanders. Speaking of Travis Hunter, he goes to the Patriots at number 4. And listen, if I'm New England, this might be one of the teams where I'd probably play him more on offense, because they already have Christian Gonzalez on defense, maybe. He's, primarily a receiver, but he plays in some nickel-dime packages defensively. They need weapons for Drake May, so I would play him primarily on offense. In New England, I think he's a top 5 pick at both corner and receiver, so really comes down to how the team views him. Do they want to play him both ways, I think? A little bit. You should at least do that. Okay, the Jaguars at number 5 take Mason Graham. I think most people would agree he's probably the safest player in this draft. Worst case scenario. He's like a starter. It feels like best case. He's, not a Hall of Famer. I think that would be a bit of a surprise, but, he could be like a second team, All-Pro or something like that. Multi-Pro Bo, 10-year starter type. That's kind of what I see. I see like a 10-year starter who's very good. Maybe he's never generational, but there's not really generational prospects in this draft. Other than Travis Hunter and maybe Abdul Carter, I think Mason Graham's really good. Jaguars get a stud on their defensive line. Okay, the Raiders get Teroa McMillan. They would love Shedeur Sanders to fall here, and if the Giants pass on him, for whatever reason, I do think he would likely fall to 6. But in this case, I'm going to take McMillan. You pair him with Brock Bowers. I mean, that's a fun pairing offensively. Obviously, they're going to have to find another path for a quarterback. Maybe they sign Sam Darnold. Maybe they get another bridge guy. Maybe they go with O'Connell for a year and see what he can do with a full season as the starter. Who knows? But I think M